I actually can't believe we're already talking about this again, but guys, this case never ends. Just yesterday, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Bryan Freedman, released some unseen footage for the romantic montage scene where Blake mentioned that Justin was behaving inappropriately, and Justin claims that this is all a complete lie. And now his lawyer has officially released the footage for this scene. And guys, this is actually crazy. So the video starts with a statement that says, Miss Lively's complaint alleges that during a scene Mr. Baldoni and Miss Lively were filming for a slow dance montage, Mr. Baldoni was behaving inappropriately. The following videos captured on May 23rd, 2023 clearly refute Miss Lively's characterization of his behavior. The scene in question was designed to show the two characters falling in love and longing to be close to one another. Both actors are clearly behaving well within the scope of the scene and with mutual respect and professionalism. These are all 3 takes filmed of the sequence. Now the crazy thing about this is that this scene was mentioned in both Justin and Blake's complaints, but Blake said that there was no sound during this scene, and Justin says, yeah, actually there was sound. And now they're releasing the footage. Like, I can't believe this. Now, before we watch the video, let's quickly look at the part of Blake's complaint where she mentions this montage scene. On another occasion, Mr. Baldoni and Miss Lively were filming a slow dance scene for a montage in which no sound was recorded. Mr. Baldoni chose to let the camera roll and have them perform the scene, but did not act in character as Ryle. Instead, he spoke to Miss Lively out of character and as himself. At one point, he leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips from her ear and down her neck as he said, "It smells so good." That's a key part of this, remember that. None of this was remotely in character or based on any dialogue in the script, and nothing needed to be said because there was no sound. So they even doubled down on the fact that there was no sound. Evidently there was sound. Mr. Baldoni was caressing Miss Lively with his mouth in a way that had nothing to do with their roles. This is a big part that we talked about in the last video. When Miss Lively later objected to this behavior, Mr. Baldoni's response was, "I'm not even attracted to you." This is all hitting so different now that this tape is being released. And I really think at this point that Blake's feelings just got hurt. But in Justin's complaint, they mention that Lively's complaint sheds light on what this point was alluding to in this demand, which at the time was baffling and upon review of the filmed evidence is unequivocally based on a lie. Production was filming a romance montage of Lily and Ryle on their date. One of the producers played music to set the mood so the characters could slow dance. Lively, consistently unable to take direction, insisted she really liked the idea of the characters constantly talking because, as she described, she and her husband like to keep talking and talking and talking, which is funny because that's what she said in her complaint that Justin was doing. Talking in the perspective of himself, not his character. So they're already conflicting each other here. Baldoni, her director, and the film's assistant director, who was directing the scene, disagreed. In an attempt to encourage her to take his direction, Baldoni offered up that he and his wife often just look into each other's eyes silently, to which she responded like sociopaths and laughed. Baldoni laughed and shook it off, while Lively once again started talking about how she and her husband can't not talk. Baldoni said, "I think that's cute," and complimented the couple, to which Lively responded, "I think it's more than cute." So this is already making her complaint look bad because he's saying that he was making comments that were complimenting Blake and her husband, Ryan, meaning that he wasn't being as flirtatious and weird as her complaint was making it seem like he was being. But there's a little bit more to this. Lively continued arguing and tried to direct him for the scene, while they were supposed to be in character filming the scene. At some point, Heath and another producer, irritated, called Baldoni aside to express that they can't capture the intended shot because Lively wouldn't stop talking. He was instructed to somehow get her to stop. How ridiculous. Like, can't she just not talk? Oh, no, because her and her husband can't not talk. Think about it. How ridiculous. She's literally the one talking out of character. While there was a brief verbal exchange, Baldoni, heeding the instruction of their assistant director and producers, continued to try to bring them back into character. As they were acting in this montage scene, Lively continued to break character and speak as herself rather than Lily, which was extremely confusing for Baldoni, who was trying to balance directing the scene within his artistic vision while also acting in character while filming and trying to get Lively to do the same. So Blake says that Justin was acting out of character, and Justin is now saying that Blake was acting out of character. And we're gonna watch the video and see who's telling the truth here. But first, there's one more part to this. As Blake said in her complaint, Justin was doing something weird with his lips and saying that she smells so good and being super creepy and weird, according to Blake. So in Justin's complaint, they did address this, and he said Lively apologized for the smell of her spray tan and body makeup, to which he responded, "It smells good," and continued acting. So that is very different than how Blake made it seem. That's a lot less weird on his part. Lastly, Justin takes it a step further and mentions that Blake even joked about his nose and the fact that he should get plastic surgery, which is actually crazy. And then they finish it all off with Lively incorrectly alleges that the scene was filmed without sound. Baldoni was wearing a microphone and the entire exchange is captured on camera. Any suggestion that this scene was filmed in a manner other than pure professionalism by Baldoni is unequivocally countered with actual evidence. Her allegation of sexual harassment is a documented and knowingly fabricated lie. So they're saying, like, none of this is true. And now they have released the video that shows this behind the scenes footage of them acting with sound. I was hoping that they were going to release this, but I was not expecting it to happen this soon. So this is crazy. We're going to watch the video. They do also include a little, what looks like part of the script. And it says, Lily and Ryle slow dance in the bar, patrons around them drinking and watching sports completely in their own world. So it kind of gives you an idea of like how they were instructed to act the scene out and like what the idea was going into this, which is also kind of an important part of context that they added to this. So now it gets to the actual video. Let's go ahead and watch this.
It's never meant to be comedy.
And I felt it there.
Can't believe we're watching this right now. This is crazy. So I will say, before any of like their talking points come up, they look pretty comfortable with each other. Again, they're acting, but I mean, Blake has her arm around him. I wouldn't say she looks like insanely uncomfortable with him. From an outsider's perspective, again, they're acting, but still important to note like her body language, even as an actor. So as you can see, Blake does break character there. She's like, I think we should be talking, and like it's more romantic if we're talking. Okay. Okay, so he did like lean towards her neck. I don't know what happened there, but I guess that is a part that you could say like he was kind of acting out of character and like didn't consent with her first about that. But again, this is a romantic scene where this is like an intimate moment with this couple that they're acting as. So it's not that it's crazy if he's making romantic moves, you know?
We have no issue talking most of the time.
Wait, what did he say? Blake says, because then you're like, what are they saying? And Justin says, well, we have no issue talking most of the time. That's kind of an interesting thing for him to say there. Because I thought they were having problems on set and not talking. I don't know. And then he says they'll never know in slow motion. She says, I must know what they're saying. They're just kind of talking about this from the like viewer's perspective, so it's kind of irrelevant. Oh, and then Justin says they're never gonna find out, and Blake says, That's kind of interesting because he knows he's wearing a mic right now. It's kind of weird because in the context, like you would think no one would find out about what they're saying, but he put this out as evidence that what she's saying are lies. So then Justin actually starts talking again. He's like, I know you and Ryan talk all the time. And she says, oh my gosh, we don't shut up. So he's actually kind of the one who like brought that part up, I guess. It's kind of different from what he said in his complaint, but...
And Emily and I have like, we have these moments where...
Staring, you just stare.
Literally we've done it for like 5 minutes. it's like, I think you would find it terrifying. We just literally do each other and like
I found a sociopath.
There's the sociopath comment. I do think this is it all plays out a little differently than you would think based on what he said in his complaint, but it's all here.
Yeah.
But like, that's just how it's been for us from the beginning.
No, we're like, oh my god, there's not enough time.
Oh.
And they score again.
No.
Again.
It's like, oh my god, I forgot to tell you something else.
Oh, I think that's cute. You guys are really cute.
I think it's more than cute.
They won the Stanley Cup.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
So there is his compliment to Blake and Ryan. They're both talking out of character at this point. I mean, that's pretty clear. But I will say, Blake is the one who insisted that they keep talking. And Justin does say like, oh, me and my wife sometimes just stare at each other. And then, yeah, she makes the sociopath comment. Let's keep going. So this is where you can definitely see Blake is trying to do the directing. Like Justin points to another director and he's like, hey, can we do this with our lips like almost touching? And she's like, but why don't we just keep talking? So, I mean, all of the stuff that he said in his complaint to Blake, like in response to Blake, it's all here. You can see it. I mean, we can all see it with our own eyes. With sound. Because can you imagine if this didn't have sound? This could look a lot different if it didn't have the sound. And Blake was under the impression that it didn't have sound, which is also an interesting thing to think about.
Cross this way. Cross this way. Take your date and cross this way.
I feel so nosy.
I know.
And my noses.
And my nose is so big.
Yes, I was hoping that we could address this. It's not too late. Just gotta shut down. We gotta call an insurance month and just deal with that. And then
Cut.
So there's the nose comment, basically saying that he needs to get a nose job is what she's implying. And then she says, just kidding, as if it's a joke, but it's kind of not a joke. He's just like, cut. Like, I feel like he's kind of over this at this point.
No, it's true. That's why we hired Jenny Slate too. Our noses match.
Did he say our noses match about Jenny Slate? Is that rude? That seems kind of rude. If he's saying that his nose is huge and like basically agreeing that doesn't look good, I don't know what to think of that. They definitely included the full clip for this, so there's a lot of just like them talking about the scene and like working it through in the moment. But this is a big moment in this video. Keep watching.
Let's score another.
I'm not getting beard on you today.
I'm probably getting a spray tan on you.
It smells good.
Did you hear that? Did you catch that? So Justin goes in for the neck kiss. Maybe Blake wasn't okay with that, but again, they're acting, okay? This is a romantic scene, and she consented to being in the scene. Clearly, that's why they're doing it. Then Justin says, am I getting beard on you today? Kind of a weird way to say that, but Blake laughs to that. And then she says, I'm probably getting spray tan on you. And he says, it smells good.
It smells good.
Meaning like, it's fine, it smells good. Like, that's so different from how Blake framed it. It's insane. And then she's like, well, it's not that, it's my body makeup.
Well, it's not that. It's my body makeup.
I think that's what he's saying. It smells good. Like, weird comment from her. I don't know. Let's see. Is there more?
All right, cut. I think we got plenty.
Yes.
Slow motion. It's gonna be a 17-minute reel.
Justin's like, all right, cut. That's enough. So, I mean, what did we just watch? I feel like we just watched what Justin explained in his complaint. I could see, okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I could see how some of Justin's actions could be seen as like a little forward, but this is where it all falls apart. They're acting in a romantic scene where they're supposed to be a couple. Like, that's kind of the whole point. And they're both acting out of character. Blake is the one that basically couldn't stop talking, and she admitted to that in the video, comparing it to how her and Ryan are together. I mean, it's all here, which is crazy to me that Blake was willing to say the things that she said, knowing that this video exists. Again, she had said that there was no sound and there didn't need to be anything said. So maybe she didn't think that there were mics on, but maybe she did, and maybe she just thought that this would never come out. Now, this is the thing that's crazy, okay? Blake's legal team has responded to this footage being released. This is what they said. Justin Baldoni and his lawyer may hope that this latest stunt will get ahead of the damaging evidence against him, but the video itself is damning. Is it though? For who? Blake, for who? They also say the video shows Mr. Baldoni repeatedly leaning in towards Miss Lively, attempting to kiss her, kissing her forehead, rubbing her face and mouth against her. Again, this is a romantic scene. Like, just remember that that's a very important part of this. So she's describing all these things that you would probably expect in a romantic scene like this. That's the craziest part of all this. Caressing her, telling her how good she smells, again, kind of taken out of context, and talking with her out of character. Yeah, talking with her out of character. They were both talking out of character because Blake couldn't shut up. Every moment of this was improvised by Mr. Baldoni with no discussion or consent in advance and no intimacy coordinator present. I don't know about all that, but I'm sure they had discussions about this scene where they were acting in a romantic way, you would think. And even in the script notes that they include at the beginning of this video, it kind of explains like what the scene is that makes you think, especially if you're the one acting in the scene, that it's going to be kind of romantic where there's kissing and touching and, you know, you would think. They also made sure to mention that Justin was in a position of power as the film's director and essentially was Blake's boss. And so they're basically saying that Blake was put in an awkward position of having to act in the scene with her boss where he was acting inappropriately. But again, I just think that all falls apart when you think about the nature of the scene, doesn't it? Like, am I crazy? Further, her team said, the video shows Miss Lively leaning away and repeatedly asking for the characters to just talk. Any woman who has been inappropriately touched in the workplace will recognize Miss Lively's discomfort. They will recognize her attempts at levity to try to deflect the unwanted touching. Well, if she didn't want any touching or leaning in for kisses, she probably shouldn't have agreed to act in such a romantic movie, right? Anyway, now Blake and Ryan have come together and addressed the situation now that this footage has been released, and they are requesting a gag order for Justin's lawyer, Bryan Freedman, and are asking the court to stop the retaliatory media campaign. And if you're wondering what a gag order is, because I will admit, even though I'm wearing my lawyer glasses, I didn't know what that meant before this. A gag order is the term for when a judge prohibits the attorneys, parties, or witnesses in a pending lawsuit or criminal prosecution from talking about the case to the public. The megastars filed a letter in court Tuesday, and in it they asked the court to issue a protective order to stop Baldoni's lawyers, led by Bryan Freedman, from engaging in improper conduct, including going on an alleged harassing and retaliatory media campaign against Blake and Ryan. So now they're taking it further and saying that he's doing this out of retaliation for what she said about him. They say he's violating court rules that stop a lawyer from making statements to the press that are irrelevant to a case and might prejudice the jury. So they essentially are saying that this evidence is, first of all, irrelevant to this case, which I don't know about all that. Bruh. And that Justin's lawyer is not practicing proper conduct by releasing this footage and potentially swaying a jury if it ever does go to an actual courtroom. So the situation is crazy because Justin and his team feel that this almost 10 minutes of raw footage refutes Miss Lively's characterization of his behavior, although her team insists that it's damning evidence and corroborates her allegations of sexual harassment. This just keeps getting messier. It's insane. I do think it's crazier now that we've seen that video that Blake was willing to accuse him of these things, knowing that that was on video and that it was for a scene that was such a highly romantic scene. And it sucks because honestly, I wanted to believe Blake. I wanted to be a girl's girl and I wanted to think she wouldn't have said these things if she didn't feel that he really did harass her. Because that would be a crappy thing to do. So if Blake is really lying about all of this, which it's just looking worse and worse for her, honestly, at this point, I don't know what to think. It's really unfortunate that she would go to that level. Again, we'll have to wait and see if this actually does make it to a real courtroom. I mean, maybe we'll have another Amber Heard, Johnny Depp situation and we'll get to see it all televised. That would be insane. But I feel like it would honestly be best for them to just come to some sort of agreement. I feel like Blake should just be like, you know what, it's okay. I messed up. My bad. But I don't know if she can do that. I don't know if that'll happen. So we'll just have to wait and see. But this whole thing is crazy. I'll try and update you guys as much as I can as things keep coming out because I'm sure it's not going to end here. But definitely let me know your thoughts on this whole situation. Whose side do you kind of lean towards, if any? Are you sick of hearing about them? What are your thoughts on this whole thing? Definitely leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
God, we're good.